So I'd like to clarify a few things on the topic of goals. People perceive me as a success coach, and so they ask me about goals. So one moment we were having a good time in the here and now, and everything was whole and complete in the present. And then suddenly somebody brings up the subject of goals, in the assumption, of course, that there's some kind of goal in the future split off from the here and now, in which things are better, namely once that goal has been achieved. And seen from a higher level of consciousness, it's just another method to get out of the here and now. Goals, just another method not to be happy today. And then they get all worked up about achieving that goal. On the other hand, from a mid-level of consciousness, as well as from a lower level of consciousness, where things are a bit more severe and serious. Goals are important. Okay, so it's not either or. Either you live in the here and now or you have goals. It depends on the level of consciousness. And that's something a lot of these self-improvement or enlightenment books fail to convey. They fail to convey the principle of levels of consciousness, that it depends upon who's asking the question. Should I have goals or not depends on who's asking, depends on your level of consciousness. What kind of goals should I have also depends on levels of consciousness. So, at low levels of consciousness, goals are actually very important, and there's no need for me to ridicule them. Statistically speaking, people at low and mid levels of consciousness who have no goals, they tend to fall into apathy and depression and anxiety. And those who do have goals, who do have something to look forward to, who do have a future, who do work towards something, they are more healthy, they're financially better off, and as a consequence they're also more happy. So goals are very important at those levels of consciousness. At these lower levels of consciousness, I wouldn't even recommend all this law of attraction, manifesting stuff. It's just not the right message, okay? You got the enlightenment and be here now message, which is vibrationally up here. And then you got the law of attraction, manifesting message, which is vibrationally here. And then you got the have goals and work hard message, which is vibrationally right here. And this whole work hard ethic and have goals and so forth is actually the right message for this level of consciousness. It's what gets them out of apathy, gets them out of shame, gets them out of guilt, gets them out of all of these lower levels of consciousness. Oh, and by the way, if you're listening to this dear people behind the camera, and you don't know what levels of consciousness, levels of energy, levels of vibration are, by all means, read my books on it. I've written 3 to 4 books on the subject, which are levels of energy, journeys in spectral consciousness, realms of consciousness, being higher self, and even the book Increase Your Energy is somewhat related to the topic. Then at mid levels of consciousness, you can start, looking beyond hard work toward smart work, intelligent work, rather than grueling hard work that you don't like to do. And at a mid-level of consciousness, it means you're stable in life, you have stability and security and safety. That's a given. And then you no longer need only realistic goals. You no longer need to settle for less. You can start to think big. You can start to stretch and also have a very, very high goal. I even recommend that. Throughout my coaching work with people, that was one of the biggest challenges, thinking big. It was always me trying to, or providing think big concepts, and my coachees kind of resisting that and saying, no, I'm not that good, and I don't think I can do that, and I don't really believe in that. It's too much of a stretch. Okay, too much of a stretch. And at mid-levels, you need to stop being timid. You need to think big and stretch and train thinking big, and even have one goal that is impossibly high to reach. Why? Because it's a principle that if you aim for the stars, you'll at least reach the moon. Okay? Aim for the stars, you might reach the stars, but at the very least you'll reach the moon. It's not about the absolute expectation of reaching that high goal. I'm not saying you have to reach it, and shame on you if you don't. You see, that's the problem. That's why people don't even want to focus that high. They're afraid of being disappointed. And I hear that often. Yes, I used to try this manifesting stuff, and my hope was disappointed. My dreams were disappointed. It's not about that. You focus on a very, very high goal without expectation. Okay? If you have no expectation, you can't be disappointed. You don't focus on it because you need to achieve it or anything. Maybe you don't even believe you will. You focus on it just for fun, just to stretch yourself. It's about who you become in the process of pursuing a very high goal. It's about the path, the process. And you'll see that if you target something way up here, you're going to achieve a lot of lesser things because it looks so much easier. Okay, if you're focused up here, this looks so much smaller. I posted a video called Be Bigger Than That Which You Want to Manifest. That's the principle. I recommend you have a look at that. Because if you're bigger than that, you've targeted this huge goal up here, everything lesser than that seems easier. Okay, so I set high standards. I don't always settle for less. And while I may not have achieved all of those high standards, I've achieved a lot higher than I would have hadn't I set those high standards. I don't set them rigidly. My mind isn't rigid. I set them softly, without expectation. You see, about 10 years ago, I set my highest coaching price for coaching services at $5 million. And the think small people, a lot of people think small, they got angry. They actually get, small thinking people get angry at big thinkers, okay? Said, how dare you, and who do you think you are? Just a reflection of them. And how outrageous. And I said, well, there's nothing outrageous about it. My highest coaching service costs $5 million. And that was aiming very, very high. Now, did I actually give coaching worth $5 million? I didn't. But it's not about that, you see. That's what I'm trying to explain to you here. I have not once sold a coaching session for $5 million. So you ask yourself, well, why do I keep that price up on my website? Well, in targeting the $5 million, I have achieved coaching sessions worth $500,000. Okay, one coaching session for $500,000, one for $90,000, one for $120,000, and so forth. So I've aimed for the stars and reached the moon. If I wanted to achieve 5 million, I probably have to aim for 20 million. Okay, but since I don't need that much money, really, I haven't done that. But that's the principle that you have to learn. When I set that 5 million price, I did it out of this exercise that I'm teaching to you right now. And there's nothing outrageous about that. So you'll get that often. Small thinking people often don't get it. Okay, the other week, I published a book on extraterrestrials from the Pleiades, and the same small minds, you know, would send me angry emails about, you lost me there now, I can't follow you anymore, I was a fan of yours, but you lost me there, that's pretty outrageous, and that's fine, okay, that's fine. It's just that if you think that the existence of extraterrestrials is outrageous, that's pretty small thinking. That's not think big. If you think 5 million is a lot of money, that's very small thinking. 5 million is not a lot of money, I can assure you. So all of these things, my interest in extraterrestrials and in angels and in heaven and in billions and trillions of dollars, all of that is merely the exercise of stretching my imagination and thinking big, by which Earth and the issues of Earth and the goals I have on Earth look much smaller and are, in fact, easier to achieve. And that's how I progress throughout life. I've achieved amazing things. Things I would never have dreamed of when I was younger. Okay, when I was in my 20s, I'd think, wow, that is a really high goal. I don't know if I can achieve that, but here I am having achieved it. At the mid-levels, you want to choose one or two realistic goals to balance out the high goal, and one very, very, very high goal. An overarching dream or vision that guides the rest of your life and decisions. And as you reach the upper mid-levels of energy, you'll want to start experimenting with the law of attraction, reality creation, and manifestation. And in summary, what that means is you don't want to split too much between the now and the goal. You want to bring as much of the goal as possible into the now. In that you feel your wish or goal already true, already created in the present. You occupy the identity of the person for which the goal is already true. Or at the very least, you prepare for success. It's an important principle for mid-levels of consciousness. Preparing for success, because if you believe in your success, if you assume it's going to come true, you might as well set everything up for the day that it does manifest in your physical reality. Interestingly enough, the setting everything up for it, the preparing for it, attracts it magnetically. It's like the setup is a magnetic attractor for the thing you wish to manifest. It's such a beautiful method, beautiful principle. And it's quite easy, okay? You want a certain success, simply set up the circumstances in which the seeds of success can grow. You know that from gardening, if you garden, you plant a seed and it grows all by itself. But the seed has to be planted in the right setup, the right circumstances. If it's too cold or rainy outside, then you have to build a shelter or a greenhouse to create the right amount of humidity. And the same applies to your success and your goals. Prepare for it, set up the circumstances in which the seed grows all by itself. Now, at high levels of consciousness, it's less about goals. The need for goals recedes. It's more about a general sense of improvement, a general sense of receiving the gifts of life. At this higher level of consciousness, what you should or shouldn't do reveals itself by itself. You don't need any goals for that because you're simply aligned with a higher purpose. You're on this world for a higher purpose. You're on a mission. And you don't really have any specific goals but to submit to your higher purpose and higher mission and just go with the flow and see where it takes you. Go with what feels right. Now, you still might have certain intentions once in a while and certain wishes, but those manifest relatively easy from a higher level of consciousness. And the funny thing is that once you reach that level of energy and that level of power where you can have anything you want, you're no longer interested in it. That is so funny. So funny, really. But this attitude that we learn in these books on the here and now and on no purpose, no goal, enlightenment, they're not appropriate for the higher mid-levels, not appropriate for the mid-levels, and not appropriate for the lower levels. At normal levels of consciousness, you need purpose and you need goals in order to evolve and evolve and evolve to the point where you no longer need them. So one of the issues I see is with people mixing things up, getting confused about these levels and trying to apply just sitting there and meditating all day to a lower level of consciousness, and then wondering why nothing is happening. As for all of this law of attraction and reality creation stuff, which I too have written several books on, it works perfectly and beautifully, but not necessarily the way most people think it does. You see, you actually have to change your energy, change yourself for it to work. And by change yourself, I don't mean change your essence. I don't mean a lion that has to become a monkey or a dolphin. Your essence is your essence. You don't have to change that. You have to change your vibration for the law of attraction to work. And that means that it's not some kind of magic genie that will fulfill your every wish, as portrayed in movies such as The Secret or What the Bleep Do We Know, and all of that watered down stuff. It's not how it works. You don't get something for nothing. Okay? It's you that actually has to change. If you supposedly follow the law of attraction, but your thinking, speaking, and acting stays the same, nothing's going to change. It's not like you can just have a thought and then it manifests magically right in front of you. It's usually not the way it works. As I've described in my video, Do Thoughts Really Create Reality? I recommend you watch that. It's not how it works. If you want something for nothing, that's the mentality of a criminal, not of a person practicing reality creation. The criminal. It's the mentality of voodoo or black magic, where people try to cast a spell on a lover and get that lover without actually changing themselves, without themselves becoming more attractive. And that's what it's all about. That's what the law of attraction is about. You becoming attractive to the things you wish to attract. You can become attractive to money. Become attractive to the woman or man of your dreams. Become attractive to a certain job. That's what the law of attraction is. Becoming attractive to realities you wish to experience. It's not what it's portrayed as in marketing. You see, the problem is not with the law of attraction. The law of attraction works wonderfully, perfectly. The problem is with marketers that market an idea called the law of attraction. And they ruin it. They ruin this precious gift, this precious knowledge, this spiritual knowledge that has worked for thousands of years, been taught for thousands of years. All the old religions teach the concept. And they take this concept and they turn it into something else, into some kind of magical genie, magical thinking kind of nonsense. And then people fall for that, of course, and then they get disappointed when it doesn't work. Well, I bought the whole video collection of this and this teacher who said these are the secret keys to the secret. The secret keys to the secret, and they're going to make all of my dreams come true. But the thing is, it's not the video collection that you order that makes your dreams come true. It's not just the thought of it or the wish for it. It's an actual change within you. It's a deep examination of who you are and who you'd like to be.